Okay, I'm gonna try to get this out in 5 minutes because my phone is basically about to die. The Dark Knight trilogy has always been bad. I'm a Batman fan. It's always been bad. It's always been bad. The Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy has always been a bad representation of Batman. It's bad that the masses can consider that like a definitive Batman. It's just bad. Okay, it's just bad. I'll explain why real quick. The fight scenes in the Dark Knight trilogy are bad. They look kind of like the Tim Burton fight scenes, so like they're not well done. Batman Begins has shaky cam. The Dark Knight has bad choreography, but filmed better. And The Dark Knight Rises is the same thing where the choreography's bad. Like compare the fights from the Dark Knight Christopher Nolan trilogy to the Matt Reeves movie, or even what Zack Snyder did, and I'm like, those fights are infinitely better. Okay, like so Christopher Nolan has really bad fights. Christopher Nolan also has a really bad Gotham. His Gotham's bad. The Tim Burton Gotham is actually unique and interesting. The Joel Schumacher Gotham is at least unique and interesting. The Matt Reeves Gotham is unique and interesting. But the Christopher Nolan one, you just feel like you're in New York or Chicago. And sorry, having the Narrows and Batman Begins is not enough. Okay, so you got a bad Gotham. You got bad fights. I would say the car chases are also bad, personally. But Batman isn't really known for dope-ass car chases. I would say until the Matt Reeves Batman came out, because I would argue the Matt Reeves Batman car chase is the second best car chase in cinema, in my opinion. What's the first, Joe? It's the French Connection from the 1970s. That's the best car chase in cinema. But the second best, in my opinion, is literally the Matt Reeves Dark Knight, or the Matt Reeves the Batman movie. That has the best car. Anyway, moving forward. Batman as a character is bad in the Christopher Nolan trilogy because he's basically only Batman for a few years and then he retires. And that's not Batman, okay? Real Batman is basically Moses mixed with the demon with a heart of gold. And so, like, the idea of Moses is that, like, he leads his people to the promised land, but he may not enter it himself. It's really tragic, actually. And, like, the creators of Batman drew from Moses, they talked about this, and then they also drew from, like, the Greek mythological idea of a demon with a heart of gold. And like, and basically, Christopher Nolan completely subverts that. Christopher Nolan, it's like, oh, Batman becomes Batman for you to like a utilitarian reason. Also, his Batman is like his Bruce Wayne is super well adjusted, and you're like, bro, your Batman can't be well adjusted. He has to be like a weirdo, and he has to be like socially kind of almost inept, and you don't get that from the Christopher Nolan movies. You know, it's like Bruce Wayne is pretty well adjusted, like he's pretty normal. You know, and I just feel like now the Matt Reeves, the Batman, and even the Tim Burton Batman is much better because like Bruce Wayne has to be kind of weird, you know, because he's not a well-adjusted person. He never got over his childhood trauma. That's why he's Batman. He never got over it. He stayed locked in that little kid mentality his entire life. And also in the comics, Batman calls himself Batman in his head, and that is not the case in the Christopher Nolan movies. Like he's Bruce Wayne first, and Batman is like this tool he uses. And real Batman is Batman. Calls himself Batman in his head. He almost is. He stops really being Bruce Wayne. You know, like he's just freaking Batman. Like Batman is the authentic version of himself, and Bruce Wayne is like the mask, the fake version that he has to basically put up with and deal with. But deep down, he's freaking Batman. And yeah, I get that Kevin Conroy would disagree with me, but that's the beauty of Batman is that you can have many different representations and versions of him. But I would just argue that, like, yeah, the Christopher Nolan representation and version is one of the worst. You know, real Batman doesn't retire ever, and real Batman doesn't get to have like a wife and kids and like a happily ever after. That's not real Batman. That's why the Matt Reeves Batman is so much better, because it ends with him not following Catwoman, and he's staring at her in the mirror, and then she disappears over the hill, and then he looks ahead, and he looks ahead and continues on because he's fucking Batman. You know, that's real Batman. Like Matt Reeves Batman is in my opinion the definitive Batman on cinema right now. Until someone tops it, that is the best version of Batman I've seen from like a comic book perspective. You know, like Matt Reeves is checking all the boxes. He understands Batman perfect, and I'm just saying that like Christopher Nolan didn't. And everyone can see that with the Odyssey, he doesn't understand the source material whatsoever. And I'm saying, hey, as a Batman fan, that happened to us. Like he did not understand the source material of Batman whatsoever. He doesn't understand why Batman's popular. He doesn't understand Batman's motivations. He doesn't understand why Gotham is important. The only thing he got right was Heath Ledger's Joker. But I would argue that he didn't get that right. Heath got it right. Heath is an amazing actor, created the Joker character, worked on it, you know, and then Heath executed it perfectly. Look at Christian Bale's Batman. The voice is freaking terrible. The voice is so bad that I'm like, bro. And also, here's the thing. Christian Bale's Batman voice is so bad that that's why I don't like to rewatch those movies. Even the Heath Ledger one, I don't like to rewatch it because when Heath is talking to Batman and Batman is gargling marbles with that ridiculous meme voice, it's frustrating. And then you're like, bro, Christopher Nolan's not a good actor's director because everyone knows Christian Bale is one of the greatest actors of his generation. And like, dude, he sucks as Batman. His voice is terrible, you know? His voice is terrible. It didn't occur to Christopher Nolan to redub his voice when they were editing the first movie, or the second movie, or the third movie. Like he just like screwed Christian Bale over. Like he was not looking out for Christian Bale. He could not make a smart decision about how Batman's voice should sound. So yeah, dude. Batman as a character in the Dark Knight trilogy is not Batman. He's not real Batman. All right, it's some fake version. I would argue like Tim Burton understood Batman better. Joel Schumacher understood Batman better, which is crazy to say, but Joel Schumacher was going for the 1960s version of Batman, which you're allowed to do. You're allowed to do that. That's what makes Batman fucking amazing, is that you can interpret him in a bunch of different ways. And I'm saying like Christopher Nolan interpreted him like really bad. Like almost all of his choices were bad. Okay? Hey guys, when Talia al Ghul dies in The Dark Knight Rises, that shit's laughably bad. You know? It's so bad, dude. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, the acting is really bad in the Dark Knight trilogy. Katie Holmes does a bad job in the first movie. And Christian Bale does a bad job in all three movies. And even talks about how he regrets some of the choices he made. And that he would do things differently if he could go back and do it again. Okay? So I'm just saying that, like, the only good acting is just because those actors could act with a director who is not good at directing actors. So, like, yeah. You know, Aaron Eckhart was able to make it work. You know, Heath Ledger was able to make it work. Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman were able to make it work, but like the other actors weren't. And Christopher Nolan wasn't good enough to be like, let's do another take, or let's redub your voice, you know, like wasn't good enough to make that call. So yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy has always been bad. Heath Ledger was amazing, that's the one positive, and it is. Heath Ledger carries the whole trilogy, because like the first movie is a stinger, being like Heath is coming, and the second movie is this Oscar-winning performance, and then the third movie sucks, but we're like, well, we still have the taste of that Oscar-winning performance in our mouths from the previous movie. And all of us are like, well, if Heath was in this third movie, it would have been much better. And we all agree on that. And that's why it's like the third movie kind of gets a pass because Heath died. But all I'm getting at is I'm like, bro, when the Batman Part 2 comes out by Matt Reeves, everyone will agree with me. Or at least the Batman fans will agree with me. For real. They're gonna be like, oh no, Christopher Bale is not the best Batman. It's ridiculous that people say Christian Bale is like the best Batman. That's ridiculous. The best Batman is literally going to be Michael Keaton, or Kevin Conroy, or freaking Adam West, or even Robert Pattinson, dude. At least Robert Pattinson is playing Batman like a not well-adjusted person who's awkward, and I'm like, yeah, dude, that's Batman. That is Batman. You can't have him be like normal. It's freaking Batman, dude. He's dressing up as like a bat and beating people up. You can't have him be normal. He's not normal. All right? The reason why we love him is that he's a little boy deep down in there who never healed. And that's like sympathetic and tragic, you know? That's why it's so popular. That's why Batman's the most popular comic book character right now alive of all time. He's about to go into the public domain and he's more popular than he's ever been. Superman just didn't do that well. No one cares about Superman. You know? Marvel didn't survive the woke stuff. Like Marvel went woke for a while. You know, Star Wars went woke for a while. Star Trek went woke for a while. Doctor Who went woke for a while. You know, like everything went woke except Batman. And like, God bless Batman, you know? Batman's about to survive the woke era of cinema. Unscathed. Unscathed. Because the core ideas of Batman are so freaking strong that like, he can survive anything. You know? He can survive anything. Yeah.